Dear friends, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a Chodesh Tov. It's beginning a new month, the month of Shvat, a very special month, as in it we mark the day when the Rebbe assumed the leadership of Chabad and World Jury on the 10th day of Shvat. And this Shabbat we read the Torah portion of Va'era. And what's fascinating is that God appoints Moshe to get the Jews out of Egypt, to go to Pharaoh and demand that he let the Jews leave Egypt. Pharaoh does not agree. So Hashem says, you don't agree, I'm going to make plagues come on Egypt that's going to be so destructive and disrupting to you that you will agree to let the Jewish people leave. And it's fascinating how we watch it unfold, and 7 of the plagues are in our Torah portion. And Hashem brings the plague of blood, and all the waters in Egypt turn to blood. The fish die in it. It smells. You can't drink it. Yet Pharaoh tells Moshe, no, I'm not letting the Jewish people go. Then they bring the plague of frogs. And Pharaoh runs to Moshe, get rid of them. They're a nuisance. It's impossible to be safe anywhere without frogs jumping all over you. And Moshe prays. So he says, okay, you're letting them go now. Pharaoh says, nah, I changed my mind. And this happens again and again and again throughout the 9 plagues, until after the 10th plague, when Pharaoh finally relents and demands the Jews leave immediately. And the question is, it boggles the mind. How can Pharaoh be so obstinate, watching the destruction all around him? At first the plagues were nuisances, then there was destructive, their livestock, their households. It became uncomfortable, all types of things on their bodies, lice, boils, their fields, their animals were dying. And he just continues to say no. How can you be so obstinate and just not give in? So it's true that we're told, Hashem tells Moshe, I'm going to harden his heart because I want the Egyptians to see who is the real creator and master of the world. And which the plagues, and the reason there were 10 of them, affected that, because it showed the Egyptians that God created the world, God has divine providence over the world, and God is the ultimate master of everything in the world and can change nature in a moment. How could Pharaoh be so difficult? And the answer is that it's not so difficult. If we just think honestly to ourselves, how often do we take a position about something? And usually it's something that to us is important, something we love, an experience, a food, an activity, a certain behavior. And no matter how much proof is brought to you that this is destructive to yourself, and if you smoke, this is what's going to happen, and if you eat these things, this is what's going to happen to you, and if you indulge in other behaviors, this is the consequences. And it goes in one ear, out the other. It's not that difficult to ignore a reality in front of you. Because for this, you got to wake up. There got to be a wake-up call. Hashem wanted Pharaoh to wake up. It took 10 plagues till he woke up and he realized, as much as I love my way and what I've built over here and our carefree life and built on black magic and all type of sorcery, I realize God is the real thing, and I have to put myself aside for God. So too it is when it comes to various personal things in our life, behaviors and ideas, that we can hold on to things that don't make sense, even though the evidence is right in front of us, and even though we've experienced ourselves the consequences to a certain extent. It takes effort, it takes work. And this is what's so important. Habit. When something becomes habitual, it's very hard to change. We're resistant to change. It's very hard to change. But it is changeable. And even Pharaoh, who was so deeply sunk into the way of Egyptian culture and thinking, was able to wake up and realize that it's false, that it's not everything it promises to be, and there's something more real and more true. So this is an exercise we should do ourselves. When someone brings something up to us, don't just justify quickly, I believe, I know it's good, but maybe listen. Hear another point of view. Self-reflect. The Baal Shem Tov tells us that through Hashem's divine providence, He puts our faults in front of us by enabling us to see others who have the same exact fault, but yet somehow in others it looks negative, while to us we justify and we feel it's good. But when we see it in another, we look at it in a negative way. And if we just look at life as a mirror, this is the help that will allow us to recognize what positions we have and issues that we have the wrong ideas and approach, and change our ways. And this is an exercise we have to do on a regular basis. This is how we become better, stronger, more refined, and more wholesome. So I want to wish you a Chodesh Tov, a Shabbat Shalom. May God bless you all. God bless Israel. Bring the hostages, God bring the hostages back home safe and sound. Heal all the injured soldiers, and let every soldier be safe while they're doing their job, and everyone in Israel feel safe and continue the unity. The coming of Mashiach very quickly nowadays. We love you all. Candlelighting time, Montreal, 4:15 p.m.